What is up, everyone? My name is Tom, and thanks for stopping by my channel. So if you're anything like me, at some point in your life, you probably felt like you're not quite at the level you want to be, right? And I'm going through that, so trust me, I've been there. I'm still there. But especially when you start to compare yourself with the world, right? With those around you, especially when you start to browse on YouTube, seeing other people's successes or friends or colleagues, how far they progressed, right? Or other entrepreneurs, right? And like you're wondering like how are they doing it? So if you stick around to the end of this video, I'm gonna share with you guys some of the mindset programming that I do to kind of keep myself going, because I tell you what, right now, I'm going through a lot of challenges when it comes to keeping this muscle here healthy. So if you're interested in what I have to share, stick around. Oh, and before I forget, make sure you hit that subscribe button below if you want to learn some of the lessons I'm going through as a new entrepreneur. All right, talk to you guys soon. My very first tip, we're gonna talk about limiting beliefs, okay? So what does that mean, limiting beliefs? It's everything where you're in doubt, right? Every time I catch myself saying that I can't do this, or I'm not good at this, or I don't know anything about that. So you have to kind of take those limiting beliefs and really tell the truth. Like, what is the underlying truth? Maybe it's like, for example, I don't know how to advertise on Facebook, as an example. I don't know what to do. I'm not good at it. So the truth is that if I take some course, if I study enough, I can be an expert in Facebook ads, right? So every little limiting belief that you may have really comes down to that. It's really having the confidence that you can do it. At the end of the day, nothing in this world you can't do, but it's our limiting beliefs, how we grew up, what we can and cannot do, right? So it takes, anything we do, it takes a lot of hard work, right? So any type of weaknesses. Now there is some limiting abilities, right? Like for example, if you're like 4'11" and you try to play the NBA, I mean, you gotta be realistic, right? But you can be good at the game, right? But you're not gonna be playing at like the pro athlete levels, if that makes sense, right? Like personally, you could do your best. So it's the same thing with everything that I've been kind of programming my mind, is that when I watch videos or I read up on an entrepreneur and how they got there, I always start off with, there's no way I can do what they do. But that's the limiting belief. Then if you were to break it down and say, okay, what is the first step that they did? And I could do it too, if I just kind of understand and learn the game, right? So limiting beliefs, guys. Number one thing that helped me with my programming is anytime I'm in doubt or when I catch myself saying, I don't know it, or I don't know how to do it, or I don't think I'm good at it, I ask myself, what is the truth, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So that's my first tip. Tip number 2. So it's something I had to learn the hard way from a lot of my friends that kind of remind me about what I've accomplished in the past 10 months since I've left my job, was patience, right? Understanding that the results that you get from the work you do are building blocks to reaching that end goal, and you just have to be patient. I came from a world of immediate gratification, immediate results, the stuff you do on a day-by-day basis, you feel like you're accomplished, right? But when you're on your own and you're trying to achieve a big milestone or goal, you're just really hard on yourself, right? You put yourself on such a high standard that when you don't achieve it, you're like a Debbie Downer, right? You're just like, I can't do this, or I'm failing, right? But you kind of forget the journey of where you came. There's a saying where when you look ahead, it looks so far away, but you have to sometimes look back at how far you came, right? So I had to learn to be patient. I had to learn that, no matter the people around me, how fast they're moving. You feel like everyone's like moving way ahead of you. But at the end of the day, you're going to the same spot. Like a great analogy was like, say for example, if you and I were to go on a vacation trip, our journeys will be different of how we get from point A to point B. But at some point, we will get to the same destination. Some will get there faster, some will get there slower, some will have a very hard journey getting there, and some will have a little bit easier. It just really depends, right? We should never compare and stop comparing ourselves. And as long as we stay focused on the destination and that every step of the way is a learning experience and one step closer to that end goal, right? So I had to learn that. I'm always constantly reminded by my friends and family that I just had to be patient, right? Despite of where I want to be today, I just have to remind myself where I came from. All right, my favorite number, tip number 3, okay? So I think this is the hardest one, to be honest. It's what are you willing to sacrifice? And I always have to constantly remind myself that for anything that you don't do, think about the cost of that decision. Give an example, like I know for a fact that if I skip a day at the gym, that costs me a little bit of my health, right? And my well-being by not doing it. Or if I don't take advantage of this certain opportunity in front of me, right? The cost of that is I would never know where I would be if I didn't take that opportunity, right? So hopefully that makes sense, right? When it comes to the amount of sacrifice and cost that you're gonna have to endure, is gonna be the hardest thing to kind of make those tough decisions. Like the cost of me quitting my job, right? The trade-off was stability and income. But the opportunity in positioning myself for luck, because if you stay where you are, nothing's gonna change. But when you try to get out of your environment, do something new, you might bring in new opportunities and you might actually bring yourself some luck that you might get that breakthrough, right? You will never know, right? Is that worth the leap of faith of leaving a stable job? For some people it isn't, but for me it was everything I wanted, right? Is that I didn't want to stay where I was at. So to elevate myself, to level up, I had to challenge myself and say, can I do this, right? And I have to say, there's been a lot of opportunities that came up in the past 10 months since I've left that career. So I think that's the sacrifice sometimes you have to make. And along this journey, you're gonna have to sacrifice like the normal things that you used to enjoy, like trips or spending a lot of time with your friends and family, going out. When it comes down to your business and what you're trying to build, you have to give that up. But what is the opportunity cost of going out on long vacations and trips when you're trying to build something is the fact that you're gonna lose productivity. You're gonna lose a week or 2 or days to work towards your business or getting a little bit closer to your end goal, your end destination, right? And sometimes you be okay with it. Sometimes you'll be like, you know what, I'm okay to sacrifice a day or 2 or a week and go on vacation. But it's just that whole constant decision-making process that you have to go through as you're going through this journey of trying to build and discover yourself and what you want to do and what you want to kind of design for your life, right? When it comes to like, generating wealth your own way, right? And for me, it was always about like, what will it take for me to have the remote lifestyle, control my time, get that time back for me, right? Being my own boss and still have a way to impact people and mentor and coach, right? Those are all things that I'm trying to achieve with all these different types of business ventures. And I know you guys have been kind of following that Amazon has been kind of like my first business model where I have a good understanding because being a new seller and just sharing my lessons, right? Because I just enjoy doing that. But at the end of the day, I'm still trying to find the one thing that can get me closer to that end destination. All right, guys, so that brings us to the end of the video. Those were some of my kind of like my mindset programming that I use to survive in this crazy world of self-employment and entrepreneurship. So if you guys like what I've shared, definitely subscribe and share it with someone that might get something out of it. I really, again, appreciate your guys' support, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.